This is Simplify Guy reporting live from the Civic Center. You guys won't believe this, but
TOS system test. Okay. TOS system test. Okay.
When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too.
Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to do a special flight today. Yesterday we just had one of the colleges that I attended, one of those 172s had to make an emergency landing and kind of crashed into one of our local parks. And so I was just going to go take a look. I went over and saw the plane last night, looked at the area, checked on the winds and stuff. So I kind of think I know sort of what happened, waiting for formal information, but you can kind of see where they would have had to approach, and they hit a fence and stuff like that, so I can kind of tell the direction. It's pretty close to one of the runways at Traverse City Cherry Capital, so I'm just setting it up. I put it yesterday about the time in the afternoon. Winds, if I looked back on it, it looked like it was out of the south, 15 to 25, gusting to 25. So pretty warm day here in northern Michigan. We'll go ahead and jump in here, and yeah, I think we're good. We're going to fly. I took a look, and I'll post a piece here with Google Earth so you can see, but we're left traffic on this particular runway, which I think they were using. Winds are out of the south, so I'm thinking they were using runway 18, which is slightly shorter than the east-west runway, which is 1028. But yesterday it looked like they were probably using 18. That would make sense, from where the plane ended up crash landing. So if we're looking here, and it's kind of off over here, actually, you guys. So we'll go just take a quick tour up over the airport. So you come out over the bay here. Now let's keep our eye on that field there, and turn your base over the bay here, the bottom part of this east arm of the bay. So let's look here. We're kind of looking out our left window now, right? And you would then turn somewhere here. We're not quite far enough out yet. So maybe somewhere around here, and I don't know if I'm high enough yet. Let me go up just a teeny bit. I think we need to be up just a little higher. Okay, you guys can see a little bit better at this point. Not sure if we're up 800 feet yet or not, but let's go just a little bit higher. Okay, something like this, you guys. So at any rate, coming out over this way, and you're probably turning, and there's the college actually, so this is the college campus over here. The place that the crash landing actually happened is right here, so you guys can kind of see this big open space here. It's called the Civic Center. Judging from how they landed, it would have come in like this and landed across the field like that and popped through a fence here at this far side of this field. at any rate, this is something like what they would have been probably seeing. And again, just seemed like they must have been landing on runway 18 given the winds. So either straight in or in the pattern having an issue. So we'll go ahead and get started here. I'll go ahead and make sure we've got everything. Let's see, is fuel on? Fuel's on both. Okay. Okay. Put the mixture in, mostly rich. Correct the throttle just a teeny bit. All right. And go ahead and clear prop. Okay, so we've got this is what the college should be flying, a 172 with G1000 package, so something like this one is what the plane, and it looked like it was a pretty nice shape, newer than the ones I was flying, so they've kind of modernized their fleet. It's all six-pack stuff when I was, not six-pack, but steam gauge stuff. So at any rate, let's go ahead and just get out there in the pattern. Today, remember that the winds are coming from the south, so we're going to be just getting out in the pattern, and I would be calling ground right now and asking for permission, and we will, let me just get you hooked up over here, guys, so you can kind of see the airport here in Traverse City. All right, you can kind of see. Now, normally the college would be actually coming out over here where the planes are. We're just kind of spawned in over here for now, but taxiing over here, and we're going to want to come down here and depart. Actually, we're going to want to taxi up here. I think this might be, let's go look. I'll have to take a look real quick on ForeFlight. Get my diagram up. Yeah, that's taxiway Charlie. Okay. And it's a little gusty. So I've got it, what's it, 15 to 25? I see some other people are actually out here flying, so well, there was 2 pilots on board, so it would probably be safe to assume we had an instructor and a student pilot on board. Student pilot or someone that's just getting instruction could have had already a rating or something like that. Could be a private pilot, even a commercial pilot or something like that. But at any rate, that's we'll go ahead and just do like a normal pattern, work here, just like they might have been doing. And we'll see if we can just pull power and see what we can do as far as gliding into, to the Civic Center. It's not a lot of room. I looked at it. I'm like, well, it's really not. It's pretty tight. So I would think you'd want to be slipping, and the wind would have been a factor because it's a little gusty. Let's see what we got here. Someone. There we go. There's really nobody in the pattern right now. Let me take a look outside. So that over there to our right, that's where the crash site was. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'd be on 124.2 and Traverse City, Cherry Capital Airport. We just say Traverse City Tower, November 107 Bravo Romeo. We're at 18, ready for departure. Stay in the pattern. And we'll get cleared. Our takeoff flaps are in. assume that we've done all of our run-ups and everything's good for today. We've got our landing light on. Fuel's full is on, both tanks. Mixture's rich. And okay, we got airspeed alive. And we'll probably get about 65 and then we'll rotate here. Okay, and we're looking to climb to about 1,100 feet. And we'll go straight runway heading. And we'll then at least 1,100 feet, and then we'll turn our base, or our crosswind leg to the left. Looking out here. And now we're going to turn crosswind, power back just a little bit. We're going to climb to 1,400 feet, and then that's our pattern altitude. So we're going to go east. And there we are, 14. So and about go a little bit out more, and we're going to turn left here. Roll to the north and come out over the bay. And we're just onto our downwind now. And I'll just, we're a little high. Catch up there. Okay. I'm just looking here. So usually, like I said, we would go out here to the north a bit. And we end up, you get your thing. So I'll probably turn right around where the college is, for my base. Anytime here in a couple seconds. And what I'm guessing, you guys, is, as we're getting ready to turn base, this might have been where they started having. I had some engine trouble. So, like, I just pulled the power right now. And now you're like, uh-oh. Am I gonna be able to make it? No, not gonna be able to make the airport. I'm looking out here and I'm seeing a lot of probably just gonna go straight ahead for the Civic Center there, right? So off to my left here, definitely too much traffic on the road ahead, and I hope I can make it. Getting kind of slow now, but we're going through our emergency checklist. We're looking to make sure we've got, the mixtures all the way in, carb heat. We have everything, anything, and we don't. So we're committed now to the Civic Center field right there. And they would have been coming down something like this. And the trees are honestly a lot taller than what it's being shown right here. And they would have been full of kids playing soccer and, baseball stadiums, all these fields are separated by little fences, so we're just coming down here and praying for the best. I'm slipping and we're bouncing like they would have, and we would have come through here, and right about here I think they hit a fence, which slowed them down quite a bit, and they ended up missing some trees. These trees aren't exactly right, but they would have hit this fence and ended up spinning around right about here. And again, the trees are a lot taller than we're showing here. We're talking some old growth pines. So they would have spun around, and they actually flipped around and were facing back the other way, right kind of close to that road there. So if you guys can see back there, not a lot of room, but I had to slip quite a bit, and I didn't have to come over as high a tree as I know that are there. So when you guys see the actual pictures of the area, you'll see quite a bit different. This isn't really doing the trees justice, which is the biggest thing to contend with around here. That section right around the college and right around the Civic Center has some of the older growth trees that are very tall compared to normal tree size around here. So anyway, you guys, so that's kind of what I think happened. Something like that. Either they were approaching from the north, but I think they could have been in the pattern and just lost some power, had some kind of issue. Seemed like they were in controlled flight from eyewitnesses. There isn't a lot of information on it, but just going over there and looking at a thing, to me, it's like you had to come down. You're going kind of fast. It's not a lot of room, so you're trying to get it down, bounced a little bit. And luckily, there's a huge, like double high, backstop fence, chain link kind of fence thing that really absorbed the energy of the crash. And it, I see some of the pictures, but everybody walked away. Nobody injured on the ground. The pilots just had minor injuries. The plane, was in really nice shape prior to that, and I think it's unfortunately probably totaled. Um, yeah, the wings had some pretty good damage to them. The cowling and the nose cone and everything were obviously took some abuse. The struts, the landing struts and stuff. So there was some signs of damage there. Definitely the wings broke off. Some of the tips took it. Something centered, so it must have hit one of the poles in the mid wing. That was clearly evident on one of the wings. So, I've been obviously just found out it happened, so we drove over there, and I'm like, okay, what could have gone on? And like I said, I've used to fly those planes with the college, so I can guess. I don't know for sure, and obviously we'll find out more about it. But this just happened yesterday evening. Just really wanted to take some time to kind of think through this, and we'll go take a look at Google Earth too, and that might give you a little bit better picture of what this looks like here. Promised I told you we'd go take a look at the crash site here in Google Earth and kind of the area in general. For those of you not familiar with this particular location, we're here up in, as you guys have maybe heard me talk about, our northern Michigan broadcast studios. At any rate, Traverse City, Michigan is the home of the Sim Fly Guys studios, and Cherry Capital Airport is the home airport. And that's where I went to school at Northwestern Michigan College through their aviation program. And that is actually, unfortunately, but turned out good in the end. That's where the plane came from, and the pilots who had probably some kind of issue, they had to make them forced landing here at the Grand Traverse Civic Center. So let me go ahead and do the best I can to kind of give you guys a perspective. And we kind of looked at it before in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Oh, we're going to take a look now in Google Earth at the area. And again, traffic was coming in and landing, I believe, on runway 18. That would make the most sense just given the winds and everything. So a lot of times if there's true north or south winds or pretty close, they'll start to use this runway. 1028 is the longer one. Commercial uses that. We use that a lot. ILS over here on 28's one I'm pretty familiar with, but 1836, plenty long enough. I think is about 5,000 or so feet, plenty long enough for the 172s. And when the wind's 15 knots and more, it's definitely long enough for most things to land on. So we would have left traffic here, so the planes would have been taken off. And if you're doing pattern work, you'd be coming out around here, coming over the bay, circling around here, coming in for landing, and just kind of doing your left pattern work here at 1,400 feet. So we had kind of done this in Google, or in Flight Sim. You come out over the bay, and then you're kind of turning left for your left downwind here. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So we would turn to something like this is what your left base would look like. And as you're coming in here, you're going to be starting to, glance out here and look for your lining up for your final for 18. So we think that the pilots probably would have been coming in doing something like this had an issue and figured out this was probably the best place to put down that they had as an option. If they didn't think, some of these trees, as I mentioned, are kind of tall, and we didn't see that really being properly measured out before, but now just giving you some perspective of the short amount of area they had to work with given some of the buildings in the way, trees that surround the Civic Center. I'll bring this down just a little flatter, and you would have seen something like this coming in. It'd have to drop in over this, and you can see there's typically some fencing or some plastic fencing, some light poles for the softball fields and things like that. So they'd have to navigate a few of these things, and they ended up coming in here and landing somewhere along this pathway here and popping through a fence. There's kind of actually a bigger, taller double-decker fence right here. So these trees are kind of weird looking in this Google Earth this way, but they basically got stopped right here and ended up kind of spun around it on the road here. So you can see that's not a lot of space to get set down in. There's just a ton of trees around everywhere. So if they'd been a little bit higher, I don't know. I mean, is there some places where the beach is wide enough to try? But I don't know. There's it's not. I always thought I would go for the shallow parts of the water here, but my flight instructor was like, I don't know if you'd really want to do that. It sounds good on paper, but landing in the water isn't necessarily your first choice. So anyway, this is where they chose to come down, and kudos to them. Kudos to some good training probably that had them kind of be able to pick something really quickly. They would have been at 800 feet maximum, probably less than that when you're starting your descent into your downwind and turning into base. You're probably not going to be, you're going to be less than your pattern altitude, which is 1400. Field's about 600, so that's 800 feet AGL or a little bit less. So, maybe you had 500 feet to work with, 600 feet, something like that. So, at any rate, really well done, I think. And as far as I can tell so far, I don't have any other details than seeing the plane on the ground, and I'm going to take a look at that too. So this is what they were trying to do, and you can kind of see if we turn around here how close a proximity. There's the runway that they were going for, and this is the Civic Center where they ended up. The only other thing that's possibly they could have made a run for, but there's infrastructure in the way and stuff like that, and again, really tall trees. I mean, you can kind of tell these are taller, but they're over 100 feet tall. There's some big ones there. So anyway, there's this little kind of semi-track field thing with some fences and stuff. So they probably were maybe a little bit too far over this way and saw that as the biggest, longest batch of open field they could get to. There's a cemetery right here, actually. This is so, and just nothing but trees. So it's not really, if you can't make the field, you're not heading that way. And you're either trying to figure out, could we make it into the water? Oh, this is actually up a hill, so it looks, that's a little too far, you guys, but this is actually a bit of a hill you climb up here, so that would have been taken away whatever else they had. I don't think they would have been able to come up and make that natural area field. They would have made this a lot easier than that. So anyway, that's all I can tell you right now, and let me put this together and show you guys some pictures that I have from the scene last night. And but since it happened in my backyard, I thought this is different than the videos I normally put out, because normally I'm just having fun flying around, and we've been lately, those of you who've been watching along, been flying the Idaho backcountry and having a great time. Love the Idaho backcountry, and that's where we're going to be heading right after this video. But this one's pretty relevant to me, and I thought it was interesting just because you don't always get to see this kind of perspective on stuff and know what was going on. And I just happened to, like I said, be over there and be able to look at the site and see what was going on. And hopefully that, is of some interest there, and, look forward to finding out more about it. I'm obviously very interested because it's my alma mater, and I'm looking to try to get back and fly with those guys too, maybe as an instructor here in the near future. So definitely near and dear to my heart. But hope you guys find that interesting. A little introduction to northern Michigan. Let's just take a look, shall we? Those of you guys who have never seen it. It snows like crazy, but it's getting to be the nice time of year here. And I'm just gonna go 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 2D. Yeah, there we go. And north facing. Okay, so basically here we are up on the Lake Michigan, right? So Green Bay, we're pretty close to Green Bay. It's like 90 miles away as a crow flies, but it takes you about 10 hours to drive there, 8 hours maybe. North of there's Chicago and Detroit, so we're up there a ways. Not quite the UP, beautiful UP, but and then we obviously get Canada. So if I want to go to Toronto, I would go south a little bit. But anyway, it's a pretty cool part of the country. If you guys like water and beautiful scenery, you can tell. I don't know if you can see some of these imagery, but there are some beautiful sandy beaches and lakes and stuff, and it's mostly a cherry growing area with a little light industry and stuff. So, oh, check this out, you guys! Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. There's some pretty cool stuff to do. So you can tolerate lots of snow and IFR conditions in the wintertime. It's not a bad place to be. All right, guys, take care. I'll put this stuff together. Hopefully, you guys found it interesting. And if you guys want to, please join us on our tour of the Idaho backcountry and any other thing that we're doing. I have been on that particular one. We have about 50 stops to go to some really cool, beautiful backcountry strips. But that's not all that we do. Sometimes we'll do some training, education. I do some of the I don't know, flight tests and things like that. Found a few bugs and things. So we every once in a while fly a VAT sim flight. So if you guys are interested in just generally flight simming and having fun, come along and maybe you'll find something interesting. So appreciate you. Have a great day.